Good evening and welcome to OmniBros Live, the only show where the hosts have mouth harps.
Mine's in the other room.
Oh, you don't have yours? Okay. I'm OmniDog, joined as usual on a Thursday by the Omnibus Collector himself.
I'm trying to see if I actually had it.
Oh, okay. And Lou. Lou, how do you do?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Now, tonight's episode, this is what I predict. This is the bucket list that we recommend for viewers. You, before you die, you have to read these books.
Cross your fingers not too soon, but
I hope you have plenty
put
of time.
them on your list.
But I predict that I'm going to be the only one that had to collect the books to show. These guys are going to remember from memory what they're going to recommend.
I'm probably still going to go out into the library in a minute to go actually grab things and show them. But
okay. Well, Lou's not going to do that. Lou has everything in his head.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't have that ability. But a place that does have a lot of ability is in stocktrades.com. My living laser just fell over.
Oh, no.
I know. He's so cool because he's so lame. In stocktrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. At the end of the month, I believe we're doing it Monday night. We give away a $50 gift card to anybody out there watching that enters the contest. If you enter your name more than once, you are disqualified and you will be publicly shamed.
Oh,
that's right. I won't be here for it. Somebody else is going to have to do it because I'm taking my wife to a Nats game for her birthday. So someone else is going to have to publicly shame the people. It's super fun to do that. Anyway, $50 gift card. We give it away courtesy of InStockTrades.com. If you order your $50 or more worth of books in the United States, you get free shipping, fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
You compose a new theme song with the mouth harp.
Wait, I can't. Ow! There we go. Okay. So, yeah. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Good. It's good.
I keep forgetting what day of week it is. Since I'm not working Mondays, I get really confused. And then I always think that Tuesday is Monday, and then I think today is Wednesday.
My wife had Sunday, Monday off for 2 years. It screwed up my entire life when she had Monday off. I went through the exact same thing. I did not know what day of the week it was, and she got me a clock that tells me what day of the week it is. So now I know what day of the week, because I seriously could not remember what day of the week it was because she had Mondays off and it mixed me all up.
It's hard to tell time now. It's hard to know when is.
When is?
Well, when is or when is?
Both.
That's because time is a flat circle, as we've learned. So,
man,
where did we learn?
From True Detective.
Yeah.
Our good friend Matthew McConaughey.
I didn't get to see that all the way through because it got too dark for my wife, so I have to go back to it.
Bucket list TV show for you there.
Yeah. Mr. Awesome, this stream is not a rerun. We're telling you what we think you should read before you take the dirt nap.
I'm also in another bedroom of the house for this one, so don't get confused. But Millie has claimed this as her room, and she just chills with me. It's my office, but it's one of the guest rooms. And she comes up here with me, and I don't have a frame on this bed, and she loves it because she doesn't have to like jump to get up. So she
That's
just
awesome.
comes up here and knocks out.
Oh,
Aw.
James Abel in the chat throwing shade at us. Need help filling time? Ask Geo. He know how to start the shows on time. Yeah, well, I know how to put the S on the end of words to make sense. So,
I mean, come on, guys. We've been running this show for 5 years now. At some point, you guys have to realize we never start on time. It's part of the appeal.
It's always my fault. I feel like when we don't start on time because I wind up talking to the guys before the show for a while. And it's always like, right now it's because I'm not on Facebook and stuff. So I'm not like communicating with people. So this is the only chance I get to talk to anyone.
Yeah, we should have started talking like half an hour earlier in the green room.
No, I was trying to figure out my stuff on my computer and get my headphones set up while you were messing with your stuff. Otherwise I would have started talking, but I was distracted.
Oh, so it's actually my fault.
No, it's my fault. I was distracted. You were doing stuff, but I was also distracted.
Oh, all right. That's cool. That's cool.
I take the blame.
I'm not no judgment here, man. I want everybody to have fun. So, Comics Guide. What's your first book that you recommend viewers read before they meet St. Peter?
Before they meet St. Peter, I recommend that you guys read, and I have a feeling I'm taking this off of somebody's list, Grant Morrison's Animal Man.
Right? I mean, how do you feel about that?
You know what? I've talked so much about Animal Man so many times. That's what they expect. So you please take it off of my hands this time.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, Grant Morrison's Animal Man, arguably the book that made Grant Morrison who Grant Morrison is today. It was, I think it was his big breakout hit when he was first really starting to come into the scene. And what he does is he takes the character of Buddy Baker, who up until that point, if I'm not mistaken, was kind of just a joke. Like, it was Animal Man, nobody really takes him seriously. He's kind of a C-list character, would you guys say, before that?
Barely any appearances.
If that.
Yeah, barely any appearances. And Animal Man being Grant Morrison, I believe, is also vegan or vegetarian, if I'm not mistaken. Animal Man is a brilliant book that absolutely everybody should read. It tackles so many different topics, and that's just scratching the surface of it. There are very key moments of it where it breaks the fourth wall, one very noticeable and important moment. And it's honestly just a book that is timeless. And in many ways, I think it was way ahead of its time. And for somebody that is just trying to start to get into Grant Morrison, and it could be intimidating because you've probably heard like Grant Morrison is a very heady and very kind of out there guy. I think this is the book out of everything that really strikes a great balance of the weirdness that Grant Morrison is known for with the funness that he can have and that he's capable of doing. I've heard this complaint a few times where Grant Morrison can go so far out there that he loses the reader, and it's just like, this isn't fun for me anymore. This feels like homework. This feels like I got to read 13 other books. I know, Jess, you had that complaint about one of his books as well. This feels like I need to read 13 other books before reading this one, and I don't want to do that. I want to read comics just to have fun. And that's what Animal Man is for me. It's also a great jumping on point for somebody that has never read the character. It introduces some concepts that Jeff Lemire takes with later on and plays with in his incredible run. Because I love Jeff Lemire's run up until about Rot World. And after Rot World, that whole Rot World stuff with Scott Snyder just wasn't doing it for me. Honestly, I didn't care for it. But for me, Grant Morrison's Animal Man run is about as perfect of comics as you can get. Honestly, I struggle to think of a run that is so tight and so cohesive, where it's clear as day that Morrison had a beginning, middle, and end of a story that he wanted to tell, and he got to tell that with very little editorial interference, because at the time it was Vertigo, and it was a character that really wasn't well known. At least, I don't think Animal Man was part of Vertigo back then, if I'm not mistaken.
Not at the beginning. It was, I believe, during Jamie Delano's run. A little bit into Jamie Delano's is when it switched over. But it was one of those proto-Vertigo series.
Yeah. So that, and along with Alan Moore Swamp Thing and stuff like that. But yeah, man, if you have not read Grant Morrison's Animal Man run, I believe the Omnibus is out of print, but it was reprinted, and I think it's out of print again or something like that. But they put out some trades a few years ago. It's absolutely a must read for anybody out there.
I think, everything, you hit everything that I would usually talk about. It's really, like, to me, the perfect way to get into one of my favorite creator of all time, because it's like, it starts very grounded, and he does get into high concept stuff, but he's giving it to you a lot easier than he does in future projects of his. And reading Morrison, like, he's the one creator I feel like I would say it benefits you to read his bibliography as it was published, because you can see this evolution of his style throughout the works that he does. And it can really, really help and pay off when you get to some of his later works and you understand recurring themes and concepts that he likes to use throughout his works. So it's not only is it a bucket list item because it's a great book, but it's a bucket list item because it's a great introduction to a great creator.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see Morrison evolve as a writer throughout the years, and he, up until now, where he's doing I personally think, I read the first season of his Green Lantern run, and I thought that was great. I loved his first season of Green Lantern. Haven't read the second season yet, admittingly, but and I heard mixed things about. I know some people didn't care for it. I personally love it. I think when Morrison kind of leans into more of the funner, I know funner's not a word, but I think when he leans more, it is tonight. I think when he leans more into that side of his creativity, we tend to get some of his better projects, stuff like All-Star Superman, his Batman and Robin run, his Animal Man run, like I've already mentioned, his X-Men run. There are tons of moments in that book that are just super fun and really a great time to read. And I think it's when he starts leaning more into the more serious and like cosmological and like, oh, the existence of the universe, and he goes too far with that, is where I'm just like, this isn't doing it for me, man. Like, I know I respect the craft and I know what you're doing and I think it's brilliant, but it's also so far up your own ass, I really don't care. I'm just not enjoying it anymore.
Well, I can't think of the name off the top of my head of the book that you were talking about that I had to read 19 other books and it felt like homework. Well, it was an outer
Nameless?
space. Nameless, yeah. That was tough. That was just too tough for me. But I'll be honest, I am very impressed with the way you just laid it all out for Animal Man. I thought that was very well said, and probably a better description that I'll be able to give on any of these books, because I just don't go into that much detail. But I thought what you guys both just said was a really well thought out, off the top of your head description of why people should read Animal Man before they croak. My invisible hat is off to you because that was just really good.
I think that's a great backdoor into another. Let me go to my library.
Don't say New X-Men.
No, if you're gonna say New X-Men, I'm not. I was gonna say a different X-Men that I think is a little bit more easily accessible.
Oh, okay.
That leads to another bucket list item, and Lou mentioned, but All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
All-Star Superman is, in my opinion, it is the ultimate Superman story. It has everything that makes the character special. It has everything that you need in a Superman story all in one place, in this concise 12-issue package that places Superman in the role of, like, basically Hercules with the Herculean tasks that he had in mythology, and he has to solve these tasks before his impending death. The impending death being from basically overcharging his solar cells in his body. It's such a perfect story. It has the metaphysical stuff that you expect from Morrison, but at a level that's similarly to Animal Man, is easy to grasp. And the stuff that's a little bit too high concept, if you don't completely grasp it, it's not going to impact your enjoyment of the story. It's a story that completely lays out everything about what makes Superman special, with the high concepts of the sci-fi behind the character, the emotional beats behind the character, what he means to people on an individual level, the importance of his supporting cast and how he relates to them. It has amazing moments for all these characters that are part of his cast, as well as a lot of his antagonists at the same time. It's such a perfect little package, and it's also, in my opinion, the best Superman story for someone who looks at the character and is like, I don't care about Superman, he's too powerful, or he's a dumb character, big blue boy scout, he's really boring. This is the perfect book to show you why he's so celebrated. It is the book that made me care about reading more Superman comics. I read this and I was like, okay, I don't think that anyone's going to capture lightning twice like Morrison just did for me here, but I'm going to go read more Superman comics because I really liked what they did with the character here, and it showed me what this character can be. So that's going to be my first recommendation here today, All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've often credited it as not to get, I mean, I put a video out a few years ago that's the book that honestly saved my life at one point when I was in the worst place that I've ever been. Just that moment alone. And I know it's kind of cliche and corny for some people to say that, but it really was true. And it's that moment where you have the character who's about to jump off the building, and that was it. And Superman comes out and he says, "You're stronger than you think you are." It's a moment that has resonated with me personally since I read it. And I think it's a moment with a lot of Morrison fans and with a lot of people that have read that book that has resonated with them personally a lot. Every September during the Mental Health Awareness Month and when the Suicide Prevention Month, and when they talk about that stuff, you see people posting that moment every single time. And I think as a creator and as a comic book writer or an artist, you want to really hit those moments at least once in your career. You really want to get those moments, and you really just hope you get that one moment at least once. And Morrison, to me, that is his crown jewel out of his catalog.
Gosh, the way you guys describe books, I feel bad.
Jess, come on.
My recommendation. You should read it. This is Castle in the Stars, the first book, Space Race of 1869. It comes out it is by Alex Alice. It is a French book, and it is translated into English. It's up to volume 4. Every September so far, we have gotten the next volume. Those of you out there who speak French get the volumes sooner than those of us in the U.S. who do not. It's based on a family where they discover a secret back in the let me show you some of the art, because the art is, not only is the writing great, but the art is great. It's based on the concept that they've discovered a secret that allows them space flight back in the 1800s, the late to middle 1800s. There is not only is there excitement and adventure in this book, there's what they call palace intrigue, because they are working for the royal family, and there are those in the royal family who seek to overthrow the royal family and take over this secret of space flight, because eventually they go to the moon and then they go to Mars. The mother goes missing. The young woman ends up being a pilot. They get a local youngster who is a whiz with tools, and it goes on for 4 volumes, and it is always one of my books of the year because it is so. This is a drawing of the first ship. There's so much. It's funner than anything else that you'll read, since funner's an official word tonight. Every book consistently ups the ante, makes it more exciting, more thrilling, more dangerous, and there's love interests. It's got an emotional impact on you because since it is so far 4 volumes, enough is devoted to each character that you get to know the character very well, and you start to care for them, and it hits all the points that you want. I don't know where it's going to end. 10 volumes, 6 volumes, I don't know. I always know that I look forward to September for 2 reasons. That is the next Castle in the Stars book and the start of the football season. So that is why September is my favorite month, even though it's not my birthday. Well, my birthday month I don't look that forward to anymore. You'll get to that point someday, God willing. But Castle in the Stars is my first pick as the series you need to read on your bucket list.
Good stuff, man.
Well, now I feel like I actually need to go, because you talk about it as much as you can, and I've never picked up a volume of Castle in the Stars. So,
God damn you!
I know.
Yeah, you've mentioned this book quite a few times, so it must mean quite a bit to you.
Yeah, it does. It's I am emotionally invested in it, and I feel like that may be a common theme between the 3 of us tonight with these books, is that we get emotionally invested in the characters.
Yeah.
Well, I want to just, because I didn't get to do the, well, I don't really do the Monday show anymore, but I hauled a book. I hauled a book that I was so surprised to find. I just remembered it, and I wanted to show you guys. And this is one that I love, but I am absolutely not emotionally invested in these characters. I found the oversized slip cover for Sullivan
Sluggers. Wow, what a gem.
I found it at a used bookstore.
I thought you already had it.
Well, not this one. I had the standard one.
Oh.
So I found I didn't know. So I knew there was like a Kickstarter edition or whatever, and I didn't know that it was such a like huge, gorgeous book, which is amazing for James Stokoe's artwork. Like, I love this book. I'm, like I said, not emotionally invested in any characters, and I wouldn't say it's a bucket list book unless you love like grotesque horror and stuff. But it just basic synopsis. There's a baseball team that's going to an away game, and when they get to the town, weird things happen, and it turns out the town is full of like monsters and ghouls and stuff, and they have to fight their way through. And it had this like print that I feel like I should get framed and put on my wall, and then even also cool like cards for the players.
Did you ever hear about the trouble behind the scenes with that book? There was a lot of issues with the writer and Stokoe behind that book.
Oh,
I did not. I knew that it took a while to get it out.
Yeah.
I found it for $20.
Oh my gosh, that's less than I paid for that book, and I got it when it was brand new. You hoser.
That's a great book. That's Stokoe's art is on point in that. Like he was always good.
What were the issues? Do you know specifically?
This was years ago, but if I remember right, the artist and Stokoe had issues, I think, with regards to payment, in regards to the book and how he was paid for the book, or something along those lines. But I just remember it got pretty heated and it delayed the book a lot. But eventually the book obviously came out, and those deluxe editions are gorgeous.
Yeah, I had no idea that was like the format that it had come out in, because the one I've had was just a standard hardcover, and I mean I read it that way, and Stokoe's artwork always looks amazing on oversized pages, so it makes sense that it had a oversized printing. But anyway, if we're doing round robin, then Lou, it's back to you. I just remembered that I had that.
My choice is none other than the 2019 unanimous OmniBros Golden Omni Award, Murder Falcon. Murder Falcon, holy shit. You want to talk about a writer that just came out of nowhere for me and blew the absolute socks off me. Daniel Warren Johnson, art duties, writing duties, absolutely crushed this. This is a no-brainer if you are a fan of classic 70s, 80s, 90s metal, or if you just like metal in general, or hell, you even like just good stories. Absolutely brilliant book from beginning to end. I think it's like 5-6 issues. There's only a trade out. Is it Image? That's Image, right?
Yeah, it was from Image.
Oh my God, Image.
Yeah.
I you know me, man. I am out of the collecting game like that. But Image, if they announced today we are putting out an oversized deluxe edition of Murder Falcon, that's a day one buy for me. It's again, it's for me. It goes hand in hand with Grant Morrison's Animal Man, where it is perfect, absolutely perfect. It from beginning to middle to end. It's a great story that even if you don't like metal and you don't get all the little hidden references and stuff that's in there, you will still enjoy it. It floored me, especially towards the end of it when you start revealing what the state of our main character is, and how that plays into the overall story. And the last few pages of it, when there's a big reveal of something that if you are a metalhead, you will know instantly who and what it is, just sent chills down my spine and almost made me tear up. It's so good, man. And it was such a criminally overlooked book, I think, that year. I don't even think it was up for, I believe it might have been up for an Eisner, but I don't think it won at the time. I don't think it won anything.
Yeah, it was just nominated.
It was nominated.
Did win something.
Did it? I thought it was just nominated.
Award.
Oh,
Daniel Warren Johnson's art, I understand it might not necessarily be for everybody, and those people have bad taste. But
true.
That's legit.
But he just, from beginning to end, I could not think of a better artist that could just capture those classic 70s and 80s metal album covers, and he just nails the feel of it. It really does look like, so if you look at the classic album covers like Dio's, the Rainbow in the Dark one, it looks like those covers came to life in this book. And he just crushes it, man. He's such a great artist. I haven't been reading his Beta Ray Bill series, but I really want to wait till that's all finished and done, and I want to collect it and read the whole thing. It's good. I mean, there's really nothing else to be said. For me, Daniel Warren Johnson is probably one of the top 5 guys that is working right now on the scene, and he did a beautiful tribute to Brody Lee when Brody Lee ended up passing away this past year. Great job. It's great stuff, honestly.
Completely agree with that.
I love those covers, though. I love the metal variant.
And I believe, Riley, you were the one that turned us all onto it. You're like, no, you guys need to read this. It's actually really good.
I might have been, because it was during the time that I was reading like everything. I'm like 5 months behind on reading stuff weekly, but I was reading like everything, and I was like, y'all, seriously. And Daniel Warren Johnson, since then, he did Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which was great. And then he's currently doing the Beta Ray Bill, which I haven't read any of, but without even reading it, I could tell you it's great. I don't have
Dead Earth was great. Dead Earth, that was a Jess recommendation for me, and Dead Earth was fantastic.
Dead Earth is right here. One of the great Wonder Woman stories, I think, is underrated, but it is a great Wonder Woman story.
Yeah, and I feel like Danny Warren Johnson is just right at the cusp of hitting that mainstream popularity. He's just right there. He's missing that one good, solid mainstream book, like maybe a Batman or something like that, that's just going to launch him up to that next level. He really is that guy that it's just a matter of time before it's his time to shine.
You know what he like really needs to be working on is a Godzilla book.
Oh my God, yeah. He reminds me of what Al Ewing was a few years ago before he hit that Hulk run. That's what he reminds me of, where he's just waiting for that one book where everybody's going to go, holy shit, where did this guy come from?
Yeah.
I was the last one to get on board that train. I don't know why I was so hesitant to read it, but I definitely was the last one. And I was shocked and amazed by it. For all the reasons you said, and also because a lot of those albums came out when I was working in a record store, so I knew all the references really well. You don't need to know those references. I mean, they're fun Easter eggs to enjoy this book. But if you do know those books, I'm sorry, if you do know those albums, it helps your enjoyment of it. But I was the last one on board, but once I got on board, I was 100% completely happy with everything you guys had said about it. It was amazing. We do have some comments in here. First, I need to recognize somebody that has been contributing to the chat a lot tonight, and I don't recognize his name. This is Noah Andre saying Daniel Warren Johnson, his commission work is absurdly cool, crushes his Star Wars stuff. Has Daniel Warren Johnson done Star Wars stuff?
He's saying commissions on Star Wars.
Okay. Oh, crushes his Star Wars stuff. Okay, I get it. He also commented that my Castle in the Stars, bold to go with a deep cut as your first pick. So I appreciate that comment. Thank you.
It seems it doesn't seem as deep of a cut coming from you, Jess, because you do talk about it so much that like I feel like anyone who watches our channel, it's like the same with if I was to be the one that talked about Animal Man, it's like, all right, here we go again. Jess is talking about Castle in the Stars.
Pretty sure.
I do beat the drum about it a lot.
Yeah.
Cleveland Brown has a good recommendation. Day Tripper. I feel like that would be something that Lou would probably bring up later on. Commas is relevant, especially talking about kicking the bucket. Yeah, Day Tripper is a fantastic book. I didn't pick it as a bucket list book, but it's certainly a great recommendation.
Yeah.
Well.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, you go ahead.
No, you did. So Lou did Murder Falcon, so I'm coming around.
My bad.
Trying to steal my thunder.
My bad.
I've only done one book.
I've only done one book. I only did. I showed. No, I showed Sullivan Sluggers, but it wasn't an option. It wasn't one of my choices. I just wanted to. I didn't want to forget that I got it because I wanted to show you guys.
Okay, I get it. I appreciate it.
I'll be quick. I'll be quick.
No. You take all the time you want to dive deep into whatever book you. I mean, this is the bucket list. You have to. This is it.
Deep into that bucket.
Yeah.
So the X-Men are a rather convoluted franchise, hard to get into. A lot of stuff. Oh shit! I'm just falling apart over here. A lot of stuff. A lot of things to worry about, and I feel like everyone that's into comics or manga or any of that kind of stuff at some point has to read something of the X-Men. And I think that as much as I love all these other runs by other creators, in my opinion, the perfect X-Men run to get into for someone new, for someone who's, if you're new into comics, if you're new into the X-Men, but also one that maybe you've read X-Men forever and you know, haven't read it yet or whatever. It's not my favorite, but I think it's amazing. And it really symbolizes everything that's important about the X-Men, and that's Astonishing by Joss Whedon.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Whedon's Astonishing, there's so many factors of this that make it special. Number one, just it's concise. It's only 24 issues plus a one-shot. So it's not some big ongoing run like Claremont's 17-year opus with a million spin-offs. Because as much as I would be like, oh man, yeah, bucket list, Claremont's run, I don't want you to be on your deathbed being like, all right, what did the OmniBros say that I need to read before I die? God damn it, Riley, 17 years of X-Men. I'm not doing this. I don't want you to feel like
all of One Piece.
Yeah. Don't feel like you failed me. I'm going to give you a single volume recommendation with the X-Men. But it's just, Whedon does such a great job with the voices of all his characters and anything that he writes, but he does a great job with the voices of the characters in the X-Men by giving us really just perfect versions of the few characters that he utilizes in this book. And we have a small cast. It's not really like bogged down by a large cast of characters like many X-Men titles are. We have Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Colossus, Cyclops, Emma Frost, and Beast, as we see on the cover, are the primary characters that appear in this run. And he utilizes each of them in a way that's just perfect. They bounce off of each other perfectly. They each have great character moments. It's, as you would expect from Whedon, it's funny. It's easy to read. It's very easy to finish this book in one or two sittings, even though it's, you know, decently sized volume. And I think it just gives a really perfect team superhero book. Like, it's something that's exactly what I want when I'm reading teams like the X-Men, the Avengers, or the Justice League and stuff like that, without being also too bogged down by continuity, because of course it exists in continuity and it has things that are notes from existing continuity, but it's not bogged down in a way that's so negative that you feel like, well, geez, I have to have read 50 million other things to really get what's going on and appreciate what's going on in this book. So that's really why I recommend this one. And even though it's not my favorite X-Men story, it's my favorite to recommend for people. And it's one that if you haven't read it, you really need to do yourself a favor and read it. And I guarantee the majority of the people watching this video are like, yeah, dude, we've all read it. It's fine. You don't have to talk about it. All right. I don't know where Jess ran off to with his telephono, but I didn't have anything else to talk about X-Men there with. You did mention new X-Men though.
Yeah.
Of course, Morrison. And I think
I feel like you should, just my 2 cents, I kind of feel like you should probably read a good chunk of that new X-Men run before you jump into Joss Whedon's X-Men run, because it does feel, even though it doesn't come right after it, it does feel kind of like a proper sequel to it, mainly because Cassandra Cain is first introduced in Morrison's X-Men run, and she plays a factor in Astonishing X-Men.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot there. The reason I don't, offhandedly recommend it above Astonishing to people, unless you're wanting to get deeper into that stuff, is because it does have some Morrison moments. And it also has the art can go up and down, because like Cordy's artwork was really not good in that series. Mm-hmm. But it does have, I know a lot of people are not big on Quitely, but I love Quitely's art. And then, I mean, he is who he is, but Van Sciver also did a great job in there. Also, Silvestri has some good stuff in that book.
Yeah, Van Sciver might be who he is, but I will give him credit because goddamn, I enjoyed his Green Lantern stuff. His Green Lantern run with Jeff Johns is, it is great. You can't deny that it is great, which makes it even more difficult to kind of like, it's hard to describe it, but it makes it even more difficult to hate the guy, despite the fact that it's very easy to hate him sometimes. The only thing, I mean, since we're kind of on this, Jess comes back, since we're kind of on this new X-Men kick, who was it that came in towards the end of that series that did like the future arc? Because I hated that art. That was
Silvestri. The artwork was Silvestri.
Are we talking about new X-Men?
Okay, there you go. Jess can talk about new. I talked about Astonishing.
Right.
So you can go ahead and talk about new X-Men. We just did an introduction for you.
No, that's fine. I apologize. That was Third Eye Comics calling. They got me a copy of this book called White. It's really hot, and I really wanted the copy, so sorry. New X-Men was the first X-Men book I ever read. It was recommended to me by Third Eye Comics, who also recommended Astonishing X-Men and Uncanny X-Force as my introduction to the X-Men. And I do agree that the art lost me at the end. I loved Frank Quitely's art in this. This is by Grant Morrison. So it does have a lot of Grant Morrison-y sort of out there, different experiments maybe with the X-Men. I've read this a few times. It's pretty good sized Omni, so it's a big bite. But he introduced the Stepford Cuckoos here, and this is ridiculous. But for me to have a crush on Emma Frost and the Stepford Cuckoos, I am well aware that they do not exist. And I am a grown man with a family. Let's get that out of the way first. But Emma Frost in this book and the Stepford Cuckoos are such a bitchin' interesting story all throughout it. I'm concentrating on Emma because she's the one thing I love about the book, but the concepts, I've read a lot of X-Men since then, because I did. I love the new leather jacket designs and stuff, and that was a big step in changing, for his run, for him to come up with the famous leather jacket things. I don't know how X-Men fans felt at the time, but to me, it was just a uniform that I thought was cool. It introduced me to Zorn. And it introduced me, as I said, to Emma. The way he writes these characters, I don't know. I can't. It's weird that he wrote it so that I cared about each character and what was going to happen next, and the crazy reveal that happens towards the last third or maybe near the end of the book is like, I didn't even know what to say about it. And here's Beak, who's now plays a role still. The reason I'm having trouble explaining it is because the book was written so well. I have a crush on a character that doesn't really exist. And to me, that's really good writing, to create a character that has an emotional impact on you, and you want to read more about them, and you become so I don't want to use the word obsessed, but you become a bit of a connoisseur of her and whoever writes that character, you feel you know the character, and if the writer doesn't get it right, it brings up an emotion in you. I think that people feel the same way about Spider-Man, and they feel the same way about Batman. Whatever the tone is of a character you love, if the tone isn't right, you know it. You would say Batman wouldn't do that, or that's not the Green Lantern I know. That's just not the way he would act. And we have such a visceral reaction when we have movies of these characters. If I now understand why people disliked that second X-Men movie, which I liked, and after reading so much X-Men, now I understand more why it was absurd that Jean would kill Scott with a tidal wave or whatever it was. And having read more X-Men, new X-Men helps give the characters more life, informs me more on the X-Men characters I read now, and the X-Men books I read kind of have to live up to a standard that Grant Morrison set with me as the first book I ever read on X-Men.
Great choice, Jeff.
Thank you. I have not read Claremont's yet. I read New Mutants, so I have a taste of how great his run must be. So far it's 4 books, and X-Men classics and offshoots and events and stuff, and I just haven't tackled that. Yeah, I just haven't tackled that, so I focused more on stuff from 2015 to here, or 2012 to now. But that's why if a comic has really good writing about a character, I can get emotionally invested in that character. So that's what New X-Men did for me. And I think everybody who's ever watched me knows I have a crush on, like Harley Quinn, Emma Frost. I'm starting to have a crush on Rogue because, she's Rogue. I haven't developed a crush on Jean Grey yet. Wanda, I have a big crush on. Catwoman. I know these aren't real. I don't think I'm gonna have a date with Emma Frost, but when comics make you care about a character, that's what's so great about them. They come to life with a good comic.
It's a great choice. Great choice. For me, for my next choice, I'm going to break the mold a little bit here. I'm going with a manga. Yes, a manga. That is only 24 volumes long. 22 of those have the same name. The last 2 volumes, and I think Riley already figured out which one I'm going to go with, have different names. I'm going to go with 20th Century Boys by Naoki Urasawa. Naoki Urasawa, excuse me. 20th Century Boys, man, that is peak medium of manga. That is the peak of the medium of manga for me. It's Naoki Urasawa's masterpiece. It's brilliant. The pacing is incredible. The mysteries, the carrot on the string that he dangles you for 24 volumes, and even when you figure out what the big reveal is, it still keeps going. It's holy shit, man. It's incredible. The 20th Century Boys for me is absolutely incredible, and it's hard. It is hard to keep a reader's interest for 3 volumes of a book, much less 24 volumes. And he does not miss a beat on 20th Century Boys. And he does the art on the book. It's amazing. Centering around a group of friends Kenji, Ocho, Yoshitsune, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, and Maru, who at the start of the story, they are little kids and they are just going through their summer. And they have a few games, as kids do. They play these pretend games and stuff like that, where they basically make up this whole scenario in their head where they're like, oh, yeah, this is how the end of the world is going to happen. This is how this person is going to take over the world. The story then flash forward to when the kids are adults. And you see a lot of their lives might not necessarily have turned out how they liked it. Or some of them turned out a lot better than what they thought they would be. But what ends up happening is there is this cult leader called the Friend that starts rising up in power. And all the little games and stuff like that that I used to play as a kid and kids and made up are starting to happen. They're starting to come to life. And it's all leading up to basically the end of the world as you know it. It's so good. It's so good. And Urasawa he knows the twists and the turns that you are going to think up in your mind as you're going through the story, but he's always one step ahead of you. And he's always in front of what you think is going to happen, and he keeps introducing new concepts. And really what the brilliance of it is for me is not necessarily the mystery, but how Urasawa is able to craft all these characters, because the book gets dense with characters. You're following multiple different stories, multiple different characters throughout their life. They start out as kids, they reach the point where they're young adults, and then eventually goes even further in the future where you're seeing them as old men, and how those three stories all wrap up and play into each other. I don't know how the man did it. I don't know how much he planned ahead. I'm kind of picturing him as Charlie Day, where he's got like a bunch of strings just strung around his house, and like he's tying all these characters and all these story arcs together. But I think the most apt comparison to it would be maybe Stephen King's It, but even on a grander scale than Stephen King's It, because where Stephen King's It, he focuses on the child stuff, and the adult stuff is not as interesting as the child stuff. And all 3 points are interesting. And he leaves you at every single point when he cuts back in a different moment in time, wanting to go back to that other point in time and seeing, whoa, how does that tie in to this? And he does that great thing for me where certain films like Shutter Island or things like that, where once you read it once and you go back and read it again, you see everything he had planned out from the very beginning in the first few volumes of that series. It is mind-numbingly good. How this guy wrote this, I will never know. It's great. Absolutely great. It's my favorite manga of all time.
Yeah, I know you probably remember like when I was reading it for the first time and you were asking me like, who do you think did it? Who do you think did? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't want to say like the wrong thing, and then you'd be like, you silly boy.
And the reveal of who did it, it's there and it gets resolved about 10 volumes in. And then I was going, wait, there's 14 more volumes of this. What are you going to do after this? And he keeps going with it.
Yeah, it's good. And I was going to say the same type of comparison to Stephen King, like the way that he writes the like different stages of the main characters' lives, and you get to see how these the different phases of their lives intertwine and are important stuff is really interesting to see. But it has such great payoff. It works so well. I've told myself I wouldn't talk about manga today though, for Jess's sake.
No, it's fine. It's fine. These are bucket list books. These are your choices.
Well, I feel like maybe I should see if Gio wants to do bucket list manga on one of those shows.
Well, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Because I didn't want to take up. I'd be like, you have to read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because it's bizarre and it's an adventure. You have to read Slam Dunk because it's the greatest piece of fiction of all time, and Sakuragi has the best pompadour.
Right.
Well, the chat's totally into it, so don't hold back because of me. I think it's awesome that you guys have that you love so much. I mean, look how excited Lou got. That's amazing.
I so wish you were into manga. I get why you're not, because I really think you would dig this if you were into it. It's again, for me, it's about as perfect as you can for the medium of manga. I struggle to think, for me personally, almost anything else that would come close to it. Maybe Berserk. For me, this is just me personally. But I love the book. And the thing is, he sticks the landing so well, absolutely so well, and it must have been so difficult for him to do it.
Yeah, it's an inspiring piece, I think. It's really good.
Moni. It's just Jess. There's no E there, but that is a funny comment from a viewer that I haven't heard from before.
But they know that you need to. That's one of my guys from Tumblr. Who is a bunch of Fire God.
Oh, from Tumblr days?
Wow.
Or not Tumblr, from TikTok. Sorry.
TikTok.
Sorry, I don't know why I said. But yeah, there's a bunch of us manga people on TikTok, and we have a little Discord server, and I shared our link, so you might be the only one in there right now, but the only one of them who's on here. But 20th Century Boys, definite peak. But I was being serious when I said Slam Dunk. Like this is my favorite manga of all time. Before reading it, I would have never guessed that this would blow past like every other manga I've read. But there's something about Slam Dunk, and just I made a 30-minute video on my channel last year talking about why I think it set the gold standard for shonen manga, because of so many different reasons, like having such a great sense of humor, an amazing cast, the pacing is just out of this world. Like this series gave me such an appreciation for how important pacing is for something, because like it engrossed me. It pulled me into the story so much that like while they're playing these games, I felt like I was there in real time, and the pace is just breakneck speed. And I was reading volumes in like 20 minutes or less and I was like sweating. I was sitting there reading, sweating, like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And I've never done that with a book before. Like I've never sat there like pulse pounding like I was reading towards the end of Slam Dunk. And I'm not a big sports guy.
How many volumes?
It's got 31 volumes. 31 volumes. However, I believe a lot of it is out of print at this time.
Oh, well then I can't read it if it's out of print. So
not like you were about to read. Of all the manga that you could read, the one that you're not going to read is Slam Dunk. I guarantee that.
Now hold on. Jess does read Junji Ito. Jess does like Junji Ito's stuff.
I have read and enjoyed 4 Ito books. Kristen said she was going to return or sell or something the latest one of Ito. It was a transcription of a famous Japanese novel, and she didn't dig it at all. I can't remember.
Oh man, I No Longer Human. I love No Longer Human.
You love it?
Yeah, it makes me feel. It made me feel really down. Like
down?
That is down. Yeah, that is a depressing book.
Okay, I don't need that.
No, don't. If you don't need that, it do that.
Dissolving Classroom almost made me throw up. So it's
not
great
that kind of
you out.
It's like you said, it's an adaptation of a novel. You can see like the novel version. There's other adaptations. It's just a very heavy story about like basically the worst type of person in the world, and the way that the weight of their sins carry through their life.
What always strikes me as funny is that you picture Junji Ito being like this dark and gloomy
Oh my God,
and depressed guy wearing eyeliner, and then you actually see photos of him, and he's like, no, he's the guy that's wearing cat ears. He's adorable. He's adorable in every photo he posts.
I posted, I think I was on Facebook like sometime last year probably, was like the juxtaposition of Junji Ito versus his work compared to Hayao Miyazaki and his work, because Hayao Miyazaki is such a grump. He's such a grump, but his work is like colorful and happy. But Junji Ito's work is like gross, disgusting, dark, like
Miyazaki is the man who walked out of his kid's movie, and they asked him, so what'd you think?
Yes.
And Miyazaki said, yeah, I don't think it was that great. His own child's film.
Meanwhile, Junji Ito would be like the cool uncle that's like, hey, let's go watch a movie, let's go hang out, let's go get some fast food. Like, but literally, you say he there's pictures of him wearing the cat ears, and he's like nyan and stuff like that. Like, bro. Yet he's drawing stuff that makes Jess physically ill. It's kind of like
I'm dying to see that Adult Swim adaptation. I can't wait for that later this year.
Of what?
It's Uzumaki. It's like a black and white rotoscope animated miniseries.
And the music is done by the composer of Hereditary.
I'll watch that. When's that? That's one of the books I read.
Later this year, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, keep me posted on that.
I'm gonna do a really off the wall bucket list item, and it's one also I told you, Jess, to read it before, and I just want to say it so I can make sure that you pick it up now that it's back being available again. That's Godzilla in Hell.
Oh, I think I got that today. Let me go look.
Unnatural Disasters.
It's in a compilation, right?
Yeah, Unnatural Disasters.
Yeah, wait, I just got an IST order in today.
Bust that baby open. So it was out of print for a very long time, and I'm not being facetious here in recommending this book. It is an amazing book, and one of the two Godzilla books that I would recommend to anyone. This one, and of course, Half Century War. But now it's back in print as part of the Unnatural Disasters, which comes with the not so great Godzilla Legends miniseries, but the pretty fun Rage Across Time miniseries. Godzilla in Hell, though, a story in 5 parts, each part by a different artist, including artwork by James Stokoe, who does Godzilla Half Century War, as well as providing the artwork for the Sullivan Sluggers that I was showing earlier. It's very literally, it's an interpretation of Dante's Inferno, but instead of Dante Alighieri being drawn through hell, purgatory, and then going to paradise, it's Godzilla being taken through. And it's so expertly crafted in every way. Like, there's like just so many references to the epic poem of Dante's Inferno, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. But it's Godzilla, and it's like, and he blasts away the words. Like it's thought provoking, and very like deep, but at the same time hilarious, because like it's this excellent dichotomy between the fact that you're getting such a deep story about a character traversing Inferno and finding their way out, but it's a giant lizard.
Yeah.
The second issue, I think, is okay. So Bob Eggleton is the art on the second one. It has a much more painted look to it. In this one, he gets down to like the bottom levels of hell. And if you're familiar with the Inferno, the bottom level of hell is all the traitors to their masters and stuff are frozen in ice, and that's where Satan is. And Satan has in the Inferno 3 heads. So of course we have King Ghidorah down there, or 3 faces, and then it goes on, and there's so many just like little references to, look, they're in Rio with the statue of Jesus Cristo back there. But so many references like to the Divine Comedy, but also references for fans of Godzilla comics. And I think this is just like a perfect example of the medium doing what the medium can do. Like being something that's so submit, serve peace, is what the mountain is saying to Godzilla. The medium can do things like this. It's unlike so much else out there that you can have something that's both so thought-provoking yet so stupidly ridiculous at the same time. And I love it.
I love how excited you are about this.
Look at the, like, it even has this variant cover is like a play on the Gustave Doré prints, like the wood carving prints from the old artwork from the poem and stuff. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like going through it a second time recently because I'd only read it once before, but going through it whenever I received this book in the mail, I started seeing more references that I didn't catch the first time. And I was like, wow, this is such a great, like, it's so bleak and just depressing, but it's Godzilla.
In every single layer, is there a different artist as it goes down further?
Every issue is a different artist.
Right.
Of the 5 issues, have different artists in each issue, so they get to give their own impersonation. What that's not. What's the word? Impression. Yeah, of interpretation, impression. Those are the words I'm looking for. Godzilla getting eaten apart by these. Look at that. It's like locust bats. I love Godzilla.
Well, your wishes come true. Here it is.
Well, I'm glad that you got it, and I'm glad that I got it too, because I didn't have it physically before this edition. But I wish that story would come out in a oversized edition like they've done with the Half Century War, which I've mentioned. I think I mentioned it here a few times. Half Century War is basically just Moby Dick. Like that's James Stokoe being like, this guy, this old Japanese general is Captain Ahab, and Godzilla is his white whale that he's been chasing after for half of his life. Such an amazing story.
Only it's way more interesting than Moby Dick because it doesn't have 80 pages. Yeah, and it doesn't have 80 pages of the whale trading corporation and everything that's going on with them.
And instead we get Godzilla.
We get Godzilla. Jess, what's your next pick?
You and Gio have totally gotten me into Godzilla. Totally. My next pick for it's more mainstream, but I reread it today because Taylor and I are reviewing volume 3 for Batter Days in the Batcave, along with Batman's Grave by Warren Ellis. So these aren't surprise picks, but I feel like they should be read by everyone. They're my favorite Batman books ever, and I've been reading Batman a long time. This is subjective, of course, but it's Jeff Johns' Batman Earth 1, Volume 1 and 2. I reread them again today for the 15th time, and it was still as fresh and exciting as the first time I read them. So I could read book 3 to review. In my opinion, these are perfect Batman books. As in Batman's Grave, Alfred is actually one of the main parts of this story, and Alfred is so interesting. And I think before this, I think they've, I realize Alfred is also a neurosurgeon who fixes Batman's back after Bane breaks it, and also some type of brain surgeon and everything else. But the way the book, Jeff Johns writes it, it feels real to me. The very beginning of it, where Batman's just klutzing around, and then how he has he has his goal is to find out, of course, who killed his parents, which sets off a chain of events that goes throughout all three books. But these two books just have such an emotional punch to them. Every character in it gets their moment, and you are drawn into Batman's world more so than almost any other Batman book. And of course, Gary Frank's art is extremely emotive and brilliant in these books. I like Gary Frank's art the best out of in these books, more than any other Gary Frank art. And all the other Gary Frank books are great, but the way this thing develops and the way it's laid out is just perfect. I almost can't put it into words, obviously, because I'm struggling, but it's got that quality that pulls you into the world, makes you care about the character, and at the same time makes it almost believable the way that the story goes. And Gotham City is portrayed as bleak as possible, and it's almost a Herculean task for Batman to do anything. And the allies he ends up recruiting are so interesting and so off the wall, but instead of being cartoon characters, they're brought down to human, more of a human relatable form, and you believe that it could actually be an ally of Batman. And Alfred plays a key role in this book throughout all three volumes. And the depth of depravity that Gotham City is portrayed as is really stomach churning. Jeff Johns doesn't hold back. He portrays Gotham City as vile, evil, and corrupt. And when I say corrupt, it's not just cops taking money. It's like serial killers are used by the mayor. So it is remarkably scary, horrifying, and hopeful all at the same time.
Great choice. I love the interpretation of Alfred there. I love what Jeff Johns does, where he plays on the fact that Alfred was a military man. He was a military surgeon. And he's basically telling Batman, I think it was in the first volume, you're going to get yourself killed. You need a gun. You need to use a weapon. You need to have something on you, or you will die out there. This is crazy. He doesn't sugarcoat it, and I dig that about him. He to me nails what a realistic Alfred would be. Exactly.
Yeah. He's the one that pulls the trigger at a very important time.
Yeah.
And really shows Batman what it takes to really make an impact in Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
So we discussed, I still remember this comment. I think Taylor and I reviewed all of Earth One books for a Batter Days, and I said these were the two best Batman books I'd ever read. And some viewers said, if those are the two you think are the best Batman books, you haven't read enough Batman. And I wanted to say, listen, punk, I've read 50 years worth of Batman. I've read it all.
I was reading Batman before you were a twinkle in your dad's eye. Okay, kids? So
Don't tell me that. I mean, you can disagree with me, but don't tell me I haven't read enough Batman.
You remember Rainbow Batman? I read that. Okay.
I was around for Rainbow Batman. Okay.
Oh man.
Batman went to the moon regularly when I was reading it.
Like if it was a Sunday drive right around the corner.
Is the third Earth One book, is that supposed to be the last one of John's and Frank's run?
With it. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but the last page of the book leaves it very much open for another book.
Okay. I don't know, like for some reason I thought I had heard that, but I think I was just thinking about Wonder Woman Earth One, where the third volume is Morrison and Paquette's final piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought volume 3 was the end also. He may not work on it again, but I mean, it's not even a cliffhanger. It's like, here's what book 4 is going to be about.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. I've seen the last page because I honestly I opened it up and was like, is this supposed to be the end? And I tried to see if it just had like a and I was like, oh, okay. And I closed it and put it on the shelf. I've read the first 2. I haven't read the last one yet. But it's been a while, so I might have to do what you did and reread the first 2 because I don't think that I'll remember the context.
Oh yeah. You need to read the first 2 to lead into the book 3. Okay. You need to reread them because it's a string that he follows all throughout the book.
Yeah, and I do know that I enjoyed these quite a bit, and I do know that they informed why I was so disappointed in Three Jokers also, because we've seen what he can do with a Batman story, and Three Jokers just did not hit that mark for me at all. A lot of people really like Three Jokers though.
Really? You guys kept me away from it. I haven't even read it because you guys didn't like it so much.
A lot of people. I made a video on the TikTok this probably a month ago where someone asked me like what my least favorite comic in my collection is, and I mentioned Batman Damned, and because it was the first one on top of my head, and I pulled it off the shelf and I went off about how like terrible the dialogue was with Azzarello trying to like pull a what's it called, where he like emulates different dialects in his writing, but he does it so poorly. And then I showed like the Batawang page and like how half of the
Riley, I think you just didn't get it. According to my comment section for that video review I did, you just don't get the book. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, but somewhere in the comments on there, like someone else mentioned something about Three Jokers, and I was like, I hated that book too, but I just don't have it in my collection. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, Three Jokers is peak. Three Jokers is the best. And I was like, no, Three Jokers is terrible. Three Jokers is like Jeff Johns trying way too hard to go into the dark place and like emulate Alan Moore and just not having an ounce of his own creativity. And it's the same reason why Doomsday Clock was such a schlock. But I mean, that's my opinion on those books. So I'm not saying that like anyone that disagrees is wrong. I'm just saying I can't be their friend.
I think out of all of us, I was the one that was probably the most like lukewarm on the ending. Like I really loved issue 1. Issue 2 was okay. Issue 3, I was like, ooh, that wasn't the best landing on that. I was lukewarm on the whole series as a whole. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I was just kind of lukewarm on it.
I think we had a whole episode of OmniBros where there was like 5 of us on, and we talked about it. I was the only one that hadn't read it, and you guys, not a single one of you guys liked it enough, so much so that I didn't even buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was everyone but Omar talking trash on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to kind of piggyback off the Batman Earth 1 discussion before moving on, I love what Johns does with Harvey Bullock. where you see Harvey Bullock, he's in his prime and he's got like a great smile and he's all in shape. And then you see just what Gotham does to him as he slowly starts descending into the Harvey Bullock that we know. And I'm just like, wow, that was good. That was really good. That was great.
Yeah.
For me, my next choice, I'm going to go with, I would be incredibly disappointed in myself if I did not recommend this man, New Frontier. I mean, come on. Do I really have to wax on about New Frontier so much at this point? It's a given so much that I don't know what else to say about it. I've talked about New Frontier for like the past 5 years on this channel, off and on. It's Darwin Cook at the peak. You can't top it. He said it best when he was doing an interview years ago on iFanboy. It's the right thing and the best thing for comics, and it 100% is. I just, in terms of superhero books as a team, Justice League, JSA, you don't top New Frontier for me. It's brilliant. The art is gorgeous. Everything about it is flawless. It's absolutely flawless. And the Absolute Edition, if you have not picked up this Absolute Edition, you are doing yourself an incredible disservice by not picking up this Absolute New Frontier Edition. It's a must buy. The back issue, the back matter is fantastic. The art just pops off the page. It's Darwin Cook's signature style. The coloring by, I believe Dave Stewart was the one that did the coloring on that. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. You can't beat Dave Stewart. He's the best that he does.
Yeah, it was Dave Stewart.
It's a book that we get maybe, what do you say, Jess? Once every 20 years, if that.
I was gonna say 25, but yeah,
it's that book where you get the perfect writer, the perfect set of characters, the perfect colorist, all meshed together and just produce what is arguably one of the greatest works of the medium. I love his interpretation of Wonder Woman, how he draws her as an Amazonian, where she is bigger than Superman, and she actually looks like an Amazonian. She looks like Big Barda in this a lot. There's an origin story for Green Lantern in the middle of the story that works wonderfully well to the overall story. You're getting an origin story for Martian Manhunter. It's so good. It's absolutely so good. Yeah. What else needs to be said about it?
I'm going to reread this tonight. I am keeping this out and rereading it. Great choice. God, I love this book.
Yeah. It's
sad every time I read a Darwin Cook book.
Because he died so young from lung cancer, and you just wonder, because he died like 54, what else he could have put out. And DC came begging to Darwin Cook, please do more New Frontier stories, and he refused to do it. And he said, I'm not your monkey. I'm not going to do, these are his exact words. He has a classic interview on iFanboy where he said, I'm not your monkey. I'm not just going to keep churning out New Frontier stories. And he gave this perfect analogy where he said New Frontier to him is his Rocky 1, where nobody thinks of Rocky as this Oscar award-winning film. They think of the villains, and as the films keep coming out, they get progressively worse. I love Rocky 4 personally, but that's just me. They get progressively worse, and you lose what made the first one special. And I just can't think of a better description of it. He refused to come back to that. He did not want to come back to a New Frontier.
Perfect book. Doesn't need sequels.
Well, I'm going to talk about another perfect book here.
I think this should probably be the last one.
Yeah, that works for me.
But right before you give your book, let me talk about InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. I've seen books 55% off the last time I checked in there.
They have the JMS Spider-Man Omni 2 at a steep discount right now, I think.
Sure, yeah, add another 2% for loyalty discounts on that. That's 57% off. They're practically giving you that book. We're giving away a $50 gift card courtesy of IST this coming Monday to a lucky viewer out there. $50 or more in an order, that gets you free shipping in the United States. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. IST. Go there.
All right, so I could have talked about something else that I feel like, we recently talked about my favorite Spider-Man story with Kraven's Last Hunt, and that's definitely a bucket list thing that I would say to people. Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. We're talking about Animal Man. You have to talk about Swamp Thing as well. And Alan Moore gave us the perfect interpretation of that character. But I wanted to end on a note that was a little bit different, one that we talked about a lot back when it was first published and then haven't talked about since. But I still think that it's a book that's extremely important. And if someone that doesn't really know hears me talking about this, they might chuckle. But it's such a great series that needs to be read by anyone who enjoys the medium, not just of comics, but of cartoons. And that's Mark Russell's Flintstones.
Ooh, what a good choice.
Mark Russell, during, very clearly the highlight of the whole Hanna-Barbera universe of books that DC was putting together. Mark Russell just knocks it out of the park with this series, with artwork by Steve Pugh, who was known for work on Animal Man, both with Jamie Delano and then in the latter part of Jeff Lemire's run. But giving us this modern version of exactly what the Flintstones always were, which was this commentary on society. It was always this very poignant commentary about, when it was originally airing, about the different technological advancements and stuff in society, but we're looking at it from the eyes of the modern Stone Age family. And he does the same thing here with taking various concepts and running with them and taking various technology that we have now and integrating them into this story. He brings back the concepts and the characters that we're familiar with from the original cartoons. We of course have the main cast and the kids, and we have various side characters. We even have the aliens and stuff that appeared in the cartoons are in here. With these giving origins to some of these characters, giving us background and development for instance, the dinosaurs and the animals that they use as appliances. Even they have their own very introspective moments throughout the series. What is it to be an animal that's used as an appliance? That what happens when they expire and stuff like that, what happens when they get replaced. It was just such a great series, and it also asked so many questions and did so much poking fun at the ideas of organized religion and looking at different things with religion and science and stuff, and the way that people look at those things in society now, and just giving this excellent commentary on that. And it was so concise too, because it was only 12 issues. It's just 2 paperback editions that make up this story, and it wrapped up very well. It completed its story in a way that I really liked. I forgot that they had a Carl Sagan version or caveman person here. You just see him on the back. I love this book, and it's everyone grew up at some point seeing the Flintstones somewhere. Whether you grew up with the Flintstones, or like myself or Lou, if you watched reruns on Cartoon Network, on Boomerang, or maybe you watched John Goodman playing Fred Flintstone on the big screen. Whatever it is, everyone knows the Flintstones, and I feel like Mark Russell gave us just the perfect modern interpretation. And honestly, I'm surprised that no one took that interpretation of the franchise and decided, let's run with it and resurrect this series for television, because that could have been a real success if they brought back the cartoons. And this also helped to solidify Russell's name as a creator to look out for, because before this he had done some things here and there. I know he had done the the Prez series that was canceled at DC. But this was really the thing that when he wrote this had a lot of people perk up and pay attention to his name. And from here, he got to do other stuff like Exit Stage Left with Snagglepuss, which was amazing. And then he's just gone on to do several more small projects here and there, a lot of which I haven't read at this point. I need to get on because he's always such a writer that asks these poignant questions about society, because we live in a society. That's all we got.
Before we get how was that Exit Stage Left?
Great.
Oh, so good.
Was it really?
Was so good.
He tackles being gay in that time period, right? Like that was what the concept of the book was.
Yeah, because it was what was Snagglepuss supposed to be like Oscar Wilde, I think?
Yeah, I believe that was the concept.
It was during the McCarthy era.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of history written into that book, and it was so beautifully put together. I might be wrong on the writer he was supposed to be a stand-in for, but it was.
I think he was a stand-in for the guy that wrote "Cat on a Hot Tin Roof."
Yeah, you're right.
Why am I blanking on it? The Glass Menagerie.
Tennessee Williams.
Tennessee Williams.
Tennessee. It was on the tip of my tongue. I knew I was wrong when I said Oscar Wilde. I was like, that's not the one, because it was a playwright. But no, Tennessee Williams. Snagglepuss being used as a stand-in for Tennessee Williams, and the struggle of being a gay creator, a gay playwright at this time, and hiding this from society. It was such a just well put together miniseries, and it's crazy because of course you go in with that preconceived notion of like, oh, it's Snagglepuss, but like Mark Russell goes so far with it. And I'm gonna say like he might have tipped the favor against this line existing with this book though, because I know that Hanna-Barbera was like, okay, we're not too pleased with the way that y'all are like using these characters, and like I think he was the one that went the furthest with the like interpretation of a character, but it made sense. It made so much sense. Like looking back at Snagglepuss as a character, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't he be interpreted like this?
Yeah, I remember when those books started coming out, I didn't think a lot of them were reviewed that fairly. I think they were pretty much looked down upon, and they weren't that great from what I've heard. But the standouts were always the Mark Russell stuff.
I will tell you which ones.
I will tell you which one. I loved all of them,
except Dastardly and Muttley.
By Garth Ennis.
Wow.
The Jetsons by Jimmy Palmiotti? Yeah. This felt like it was one of Mark Russell's. And I tweeted to Mark Russell. I was like, I'm surprised that you weren't doing Jetsons, because I thought you'd have a triptych of like the Flintstones in the past, the Snagglepuss book in like the modern era, and then Jetsons being in the future. I thought that's what he was going to be doing, but instead they got Jimmy Palmiotti doing it. But also I really loved the Future Quest stuff. Was a lot of fun, just utilizing all of those characters, all the like the action and superhero characters from the Hanna-Barbera universe. And I've said this before, but this was like a dream come true for me, because not long before this was announced to be a project that was going to be happening, I actually put out there on the internet somewhere, probably back on the Tumblr, that I wanted to see like a Hanna-Barbera superhero team up book, and it happened. Like that's so. Not only did it happen, but freaking Jeff Parker writing it. Like, holy crap! One of
your favorites.
Yeah, with Doc Shaner on artwork. It's unfair how good these freaking
these books are really good. Yeah. I will say that I'm old enough that not only did I see the Flintstones in prime time, like at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock at night on a network, but I saw ads with Fred and Barney smoking for cigarette ads.
Jesus.
Real.
Yeah, you can still find those online.
Yeah. Yeah, those were real. So yeah, I wanted to smoke when I grew up based on those commercials. So it worked. So Riley, we should do a video together where we talk about those Hanna-Barbera books.
You know, I might have told you this, but I bought those books like early last year because I was planning on doing a whole rundown video about that line. So maybe I should return to that idea, do a video about the line, and then do a follow-up where we talk about more just like our opinions and thoughts on them. So I'm going to do the informative part on my own. Just giving the like, so this is what it was. This is what there was.
Okay, I'm going to read all of it tonight and put it out tomorrow just to beat you.
Every single Hanna-Barbera book. Didn't you already read them though?
I did, yeah.
The only one I haven't read all of, I didn't finish Scooby Apocalypse. That's the only one I haven't done all of.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't read that.
But I've read everything else.
I haven't read it.
I have notes also in my phone about like, because I was gonna do like Hanna-Barbera Omnibus wish list, like it was 4 different volumes of how I would break it up, and one of them is like the Mark Russell book, one of them is a Future Quest book, and then everything else I don't remember what I did, but I had it broken up. I have notes somewhere in my phone about how I was going to do that, so I need to get back on that. But I've just been focusing on different projects and whatnot.
You've been TikToking, boy.
I can't do much more than that right now because my bathroom is still under construction. So I can't, like, I can only film in like the small breaks between, like at one last week it was like like tearing. It was demolition last week, and now it's like there's like saws going that are cutting tile and whatnot.
Isn't your house brand new?
Yeah, but my wife wanted to redo the bathroom, the master bath. She wanted to put new tiles in. So now it's gone from like a gray stone to a hexagonal black like tile, which is pretty good looking. It's very different, but it's pretty good looking. It's almost done. It's going to be a very, very big change, but she's really happy with it. So that's all that matters.
All that matters. Here's a nice comment from Noah Andre. I agree with him. How blessed are we to have a hobby where a bucket list is overflowing with possible answers.
This could be like a semi-regular, like, hey guys, what do we want to talk about tonight? And then we're like, I don't have any ideas. Oh, let's give some more bucket list books. Like, tell people what to read before they croak.
Well, I need to read Scooby Apocalypse before I croak, so I can make that video that competes with you.
Okay. Bet.
Okay.
We'll get on it. I mean, that's all I have to just finish. I don't even remember where I left off when I was reading it, but I just need to finish it off, and then I showed my niece, because my niece has been getting into Scooby-Doo. She likes to watch the What's New Scooby-Doo cartoon, and she loves the theme song by Simple Plan. She sings it, but she thinks it's watching Scooby-Doo is the way what they say. Anyway, so I was up here the last time or 2 times ago that they were over, and I was like, hey, Elena, check this out. I have some Scooby-Doo comics, and I showed her Scooby Apocalypse. She's like, this is weird. This is different. It was really funny. Like, and she's very observant. She noticed, like, in one of the later volumes, she's like, someone's missing. I was like, oh, looks like you figured something out.
Who's missing?
Well, I don't want to spoil it, Jess.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she was very observant.
Oh, this is the Scooby Apocalypse books?
Yeah, she was very observant, looking at the covers of those books and seeing certain character may not be in a later part.
Oh, but okay.
Scrappy dude.
They got rid of Scooby himself.
Replace him with
It turns the last 10 issues got retitled as Shaggy Apocalypse. Shaggy looking for revenge for his fallen pup.
Jess, you really hate Scrappy Doo, don't you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you hate Scrappy Doo?
Oh, God. Yeah, with a passion. I hated him as soon as he showed up.
What series was the first one that Scrappy came in?
I feel like it was the original, like the
second season
or something. Because I was young when he came in.
I love that James Gunn turned him into a villain.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I love the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo with
that was a
Vincent
good
Price.
series. That was fun.
What's that? What is that?
13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo was one of the Scooby-Doo series that had Vincent Price playing a character that like has them, I think, seeking out 13 ghosts that have like broken out of some sealed place, and they had some kid join them named, I think his name was Flimflam.
This is a comic book or cartoon?
No, it's a cartoon. It's one of the cartoons. It was from like much before it was from before I was born. So I don't know how long after. But that and Pup Named Scooby-Doo were my favorite Scooby-Doo cartoons, aside from the OG. What's the OG?
Yeah.
Where Are You or whatever.
I want to say 13 Ghosts was the 80s. Fingers crossed. I think it was in the 80s, something like that. It was around the time.
I think it was.
You had to have like it was kind of mandatory in cartoons back in the day. If it involved magic, you would have to have like an Indian guy involved in your cartoon, because Johnny Quest had Haji,
right?
13 Ghosts had Flim Flam, so it was kind of like a token thing that they had back then.
Well, 13 Ghosts was a movie when I was really young. That was scary to me. You had to put on in the movie. There were 13 ghosts that haunted the house, and to see them, you had to put on special glasses, and it was. Saying 13 ghosts gives me a visceral reaction. Now I would see it as a campy movie, but back then it scared the hell out of me. 13 Ghosts did. Yeah, I remember it well. So there's a 13 Ghosts Scooby-Doo. I gotta see that.
No, look, I really loved that cartoon.
Mm-hmm. And Vincent Price did not half-ass it. He gave it his all on that voiceover. It was great.
Yeah, let's see. It was only 13 episodes. It was aired in 1985, and I believe that the characters were limited to Scooby, Shaggy, Velma, or no, not Velma, Daphne. Yeah. So Fred and Velma were not there, but you had Scooby. Jess, I'm sorry, but Scrappy is in there as well. Shaggy, Daphne, Flim Flam, and then Vincent Price plays Vincent Van Ghoul.
Does it say where you can see it now? Is it like on any streaming service or anything?
Boomerang?
I don't know.
Maybe
YouTube. I can see it.
Oh, there was even a film released, Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost, in 2019 to wrap up loose ends. I didn't even know about that.
James Abel says the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo is amazing. The sequel movie Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13 Ghosts was horrible. Okay.
All right, well, never mind that. But I love that cartoon. It was great. Also, strongly suggests that Scooby and Daphne were dating at that point, or not? Shaggy and Daphne. Shaggy and Daphne were dating at that point. Of that series, there was some sort of relationship going on there. Anyway, with that, Shaggy, not Scooby.
Scooby and Daphne. That is a Freudian slip.
Yeah, that's what we all really wanted to see. Get your Scoob. Scoober.
Is that the name of the sequel series?
Get yours, Scoob. Scooby Dooby Doo, get yours too. Oh, whoa! last comment is a super chat.
Woo!
Frazier. Oh, Frazier's always nice with the super chats. I'm late, but thanks again for the Suicide Squad book, Jess. Arrived safe and sound. Oh, good. Yeah, I sent it to him because I accidentally ordered 2. Thank you for the super chat. I think I have something I can show for a super chat. Let's see if I did it right. There we go. All right. I did it. Let's see her again. Okay. Omnibus Collector, where can we find you on the internet or TikTok or wherever?
You can find me anywhere as the Omnibus Collector. I've got a couple things to edit and upload on my channel this week, hopefully soon. And then, yeah, on TikTok, so you can get some more content from me in between my videos on YouTube. That's a good place to check me out. Lately, I've just been doing little, like, I guess skits, like little comedic things on there. So just fun little things.
Nice. Lou, how about you? Where are you? Lou, where are you?
You can find me at Comics Guide 101 on Twitter. I have an old archive of videos at Comics Guide 101 on YouTube. You can check out that old stuff. This Saturday, Gabe and I will be doing the Patreon Hangout, where we will be meeting up with everybody that subscribes to our Patreon. You can find the link down below. For $5 a month, you get to hang out, and we just shoot the mess, as you like to call it, whatever. Basically, just hang out. We talk comics, we talk movies, we talk everything. That's limited to the people that join the Patreon down in the link below for $5 a month. We're starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday. We usually start on time. And it's always a good time to hang out. We've had pretty good turnouts in the past, so it'll be fun. Nice.
You can find me, OmniDog, on OmniDog's Vault on YouTube and on Instagram, OmniDogs_Vault, where I learned how to do reels. So I'm going to start churning out reels. Oh, another super chat. Wow, Moni.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Enjoy the show. Love your videos, Jess. Moni, thank you, buddy. Miss and or Mr. or both, whatever. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you to everyone in the chat tonight. Thank you to the super chatters. That was really nice of you. Thank you to InStockTrades.com. Thank you to anybody watching this afterwards. Thank you to my co-host.
I'd like to thank my mom and dad.
Thanks to Riley's mom and dad.
Thank the Academy.
The Academy. Oh, here's a question that's actually Riley and Lou, are you going to have special 5-year anniversary episodes for September 15th? First OmniBros. September 22nd. First Jess. November 10th. First Geo. That would be cool if you did that. Thank you for saying that, Nman40.
That's a good idea.
That is a great idea. I'm going to take a picture of that. So I remember the date.
Yeah, so we don't forget, because that's what'll happen.
We had no idea.
Let's just run a clip show. Let's just do what they do on TV and just run a clip show of the best moments for the last 5 years.
It'll be me breaking my tooth, ruining my computer.
Riley drunk after reading Civil War II.
Actually, that Gio could put that together. That actually would be funny.
I'm sure he could.
Wait, what else did I do? I broke my tooth. I ruined my computer. There was a third thing that I'm famous for wrecking.
Comcast.
Sorry?
Your cable rant about Comcast was great.
Oh, Cox.
Cox, that's what it was.
Cox Internet. Darkhawk ruining my internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nman40 would enjoy those episodes. Okay. That's something I bet we could do. with enough lead time. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. This has been a ton of fun, and we love you all, and we really appreciate all our viewers. Thank you for watching. Peace and love. Peace and love. Treat each other nicely.